You smell that? That's Friday. Yeah, that's a lovely smell. It's a fantabulous smell. It's the sweet smell of the end of another work week. We're almost at the end of the month. It's Friday. It's the 30th day of August 2019. I'm Dan Kuntz. This is Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. Thanks for starting your day with us here on the NCW Life Channel, your local TV station. Labor Day weekend is almost here. Almost everybody that I know has a 3-day weekend. We certainly here at the NCW Life Channel have a 3-day weekend. Won't be here on Monday. No show Monday. No news. We'll have some special programming or something. I don't know. I'm sleeping in on Monday. I don't know what we're doing, quite frankly. But it is Labor Day on Monday, so no government offices, no mail delivery, no school, that kind of stuff. Everything that you're used to. Link won't be running, stuff like that, which is always the case on federal holidays. So I hope everybody gets a good, fun, enjoyable, relaxing, whatever you want to do, Labor Day weekend, 3 of them. And then we come back to a short week, which is even better if you think about it. Weather is going to cooperate. Yeah, we got a few high clouds. In fact, there's some light rain actually outside of our studios, just super light drizzle, but it's very mild. If you haven't been outside yet, it's 72 degrees outside of our studios, which is a friendly reminder. It may be the end of August, and we may be sliding into Labor Day weekend, which for a lot of people is the end of summer, but we have a lot of summer to go. We still got 3 weeks of summer to go, as a matter of fact, before the autumnal equinox pays us a visit. So complete forecast coming up for the Labor Day weekend, and I'll right on into next week. It's, if you like sunny and warm but not hot weather, we got the perfect forecast for you. We'll bring you news. We'll bring you sports. Our own Eric Grandstrom was at CenturyLink Field last night for the final tune-up for the Seahawks as they knocked off the Oakland Raiders. Eric filmed a rap, and we'll have that for you when we get to sports. Also, we have the obscure holiday, and we have some birthdays for you. We have Today in History. Everybody is entitled to Mike Magnotti's opinion. And yesterday, Senator Brad Hawkins, our Olympia representative from the 12th District, came by and paid me a visit. We had a nice little chat with Senator Hawkins. Brad and I had a conversation, and we're going to show that to you in the back half of the hour as he prepares for his listening tour, which is all next week throughout the 12th District. He'll be up in Mazama and Twisp. He'll be in Pateros, Wenatchee, and East Wenatchee. He'll be all over the place. His listening tour, and that'll be the topic of conversation, plus other things, governmental wise, if you will, with my conversation with Brad in the back half of the hour. Malcolm is pushing the buttons. He says he has a couple of curve balls to throw my way on our high-definition PTZ cameras. We'll see. I like to play the guessing game. I don't know. The only camera that we use always, every morning, provided it's up and running, is the camera that you see there. So let's go ahead and take you around the valley in north central Washington. Of course, the cross camera always begins our festivities, and it looks like the clouds are already beginning to thin out, and they will throughout the course of the day today, by the way. We're going to start out with mostly cloudy skies, the occasional stray raindrop this morning, but by mid-morning, the clouds will be 86ing themselves right out of here. By noon, it'll be sunny, and by later on in the afternoon, quite a bit of sunshine. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous forecast coming your way, and we live in a gorgeous, gorgeous area. Sunrise this morning was at 6:17. It was spectacular, in case you missed it. Sunset tonight will be at 7:45. So for this Friday, the 30th day of August, we're looking at 13 hours and 28 minutes of daylight. In fact, just since Monday, so for this 5-day work week, we've lost about 14 minutes of daylight. That's what we do as summer begins to wane and autumn starts knocking on the door. All right, Malcolm, let's see what we got. Camera 2, well, that's Omi Gardens. That's easy, just pointed the other direction. Rocky Reach Dam, Lake Antioch, the Baker Flats Industrial Park, just out of view there. Heading on up towards Waterville, Antioch, and places to the north. Of course, Lake Chelan will be a hopping this weekend with the perfect weather. People getting out and enjoying the last gasps of summer. That's the Omi Gardens camera pointed the opposite direction. Omi Gardens, by the way, is beautiful any time of the year, but in September, it's really, really spectacular. Get up to Omi Gardens. Join Omi Gardens. Adopt a bench and just spend a peaceful couple of hours up there. Bring a book and just chill. Enjoy the view and the beauty that is Omi Gardens. I love that place. Camera number 3, Malcolm says, okay, now he's going to play with my head a little bit. That is got to be Birch Mountain. Am I correct? That's Badger. I'm sorry. That's what I meant. I meant Badger. We use that camera. We use it all the time. Usually it's pointed down at the Wenatchee Valley. It is not today. He's got it pointed up on the plateau, up on the bench. Good view there. That's, I wonder if that's somebody's home. That can't possibly be somebody's home. That's got to be like a transmitter shack or something like that. because that's a long commute to, get a gallon of milk. Oh, I'm out of milk. Got to go to the store. See you in an hour. Beautiful view. Good work there, Malcolm. Camera number 4. Okay, that's the Tumwater Canyon. Am I correct? Hey, good morning, Leavenworth. Good to have you on board. Beautiful view from the Tumwater Canyon. Leavenworth, of course, will be hopping on Labor Day weekend. In fact, we're going to do a story on traffic concerns. Of course, a lot of people hit the road to go camping and just various outdoor activities on Labor Day weekend. And US 2, Stevens Pass, between Leavenworth and the Monroe area, will be very busy eastbound today and then westbound on Monday. Yeah, no doubt about that. And then we go back to our cross camera. All of these cameras, of course, are courtesy of Localtel Sky-Fi high-speed wireless setup, the Sky-Fi setup, because all of these towers that you see with our high-definition cameras also have Sky-Fi dishes on them. So if you want high-speed internet to your house, but you don't have fiber, give Localtel a call, and they'll see if they can take care of you. They're pretty good folks there. All right, 7 minutes after the hour from the National Weather Service. No complaints about this forecast. It looks something like this. Ta-da! You say, wait a minute, sunshine today at 88, but I'm looking outside, it's raining lightly, and it's 72, but that little system, that shortwave system that came through yesterday that gave us the clouds, it's already beginning to exit the area. Again, as I mentioned before, by the middle of the morning, the sun will be getting its job done. By noon, it'll be partly sunny skies, and by 3 or 4 o'clock, it'll be nothing but sunshine today, and that is going to be prevalent right through the rest of the weekend. So clouds this morning, sunshine this afternoon, high of about 88, clear tonight, 63 for the overnight low. We'll top off at 88 again on Saturday, with lots of sunshine Sunday, and a high of 85. Labor Day, sunshine 87. Looking next week, we'll be topping off in the upper 80s to lower 90s. A friendly reminder, we still got a lot of summertime to do. Yesterday's high was 85, or normal high, 83, so it was slightly warmer than average. And yesterday's overnight low was 63, or normal overnight low would be 58 degrees. And right now it's 72 degrees. We may have set a record. We won't know until this day is done whether we set a record for the warmest overnight low on this day, but it is mild with some light rain. So nothing really out there. This little disturbance is leaving. That's it. We got sunshine this afternoon and sunshine right through the forecast period all the way through Thursday of next week. That's a forecast I can live with. Whatever your outdoor activities are, Mother Nature is going to make it happen for you. 8 minutes after the hour, we're going to take a quick break, just a 1-minute break. So grab your cup of coffee, or your English muffin, or your donut, or your omelet, or your bacon, or your eggs, or your sausages, or your pancakes. I'm getting really hungry. And then come back, and I'll give you your Friday morning news. It's 1 minute away. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley, live this morning from Studio 8 in downtown Wenatchee on the NCW Life channel.
Hi, I'm Jim Heinlein, agent here at Senior Insurances of North Central Washington, where we help our clients navigate the Medicare world. One of the things we really enjoy doing is teaching our clients about their rights. Like, did you know that if you have a traditional Medicare supplement, you can change that monthly all year long, regardless of prior health conditions? So if you'd like to know more about your options with Medicare, you can visit us at one of our 5 local offices, as well as give us a call at 888-2600.
My first experience with CVCH, I had to come in with my daughter by myself with a cut in my hand that required stitches. And the care and compassion at CVCH was really significant, that they took the care and compassion and made me feel more as a human instead of just a patient there. The care they have for their community all around, inside and outside the clinic, is what I feel like is different. And that's what makes me want to come back to CVCH and recommend them to my friends and family.
Welcome back. 10 minutes after the hour on this Friday edition of Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. I'm Dan Kuntz, your host. Some light rain, some clouds, and 72 degrees. The rain will be tapering off. The clouds will be departing. We'll have sunshine this afternoon with highs in the upper 80s. Here's your Friday morning news. A routine trespass complaint regarding a man sitting in a car turned into a lot more than that for East Wenatchee police officers early yesterday morning, and I mean early. It was about 4:08 in the morning when deputies located a 31-year-old male from East Wenatchee whom they had had prior contacts with. He was sitting in a vehicle in the area of the 2700 block of Westview Drive in East Wenatchee. Well, upon contact, he displayed a knife towards officers and was observed to have visible blood on his clothing. The man refused to exit the car, and deputies attempted to negotiate with him for a couple of hours to have him safely exit the car for evaluation by medical personnel. Well, as negotiations failed, he subsequently sped from the location, proceeded southbound on North Baker Avenue with speeds estimated in excess of 80 miles an hour. Deputies followed and observed him slow the vehicle and then jump from it while it was moving in the 2200 block of North Baker Avenue. The vehicle continued to travel southbound until it went off the roadway and crashed in the 2100 block. The suspect was then contacted by deputies, refused to follow verbal commands given to him. He was tased by police officers, and that seemed to do the trick. He was taken safely into custody, transported to Central Washington Hospital for medical treatment involving self-inflicted stab wounds. Criminal charges are pending for the suspect. Well, a broken line spilled sewage into Moses Lake on Wednesday evening, and the Grant County Health District and the Grant County Sheriff's Office is advising people to stay away from the lake water west of Alder Street. The sewer line broke in the 300 block of North Shore Drive. This happened about 6 o'clock on Wednesday evening. The Health District confirmed the broken sewer line a couple of hours later. It's uncertain how much sewage was spilled into the lake. The Health District said it is monitoring the incident. Also, of course, being monitored is a toxic algae bloom on Moses Lake that was discovered in July. That led health officials to warn people and their pets to stay out of Moses Lake. Douglas County PUD commissioners this week signed off on the completion of the brand new Conklin Landing RV Park in Bridgeport. The new Riverside facility is open for business. Reservations are made through the City of Bridgeport's website. The park's development was a joint project between the Douglas County PUD and the City of Bridgeport. It includes 17 full hookups for RVs, full-service bathhouse, restrooms adjacent to the recently added double-lane boat launch into the Columbia River, and it will probably be quite busy this Labor Day weekend. Speaking of Labor Day weekend, it's the last weekend of summer for a lot of people. A lot of travel, a lot of traffic jams expected on Interstate 90. The Washington State Department of Transportation says the biggest problems today and Saturday will be eastbound on Interstate 90 between North Bend and Clay Elum. Stop-and-go traffic expected from 10 a.m. to 6 o'clock on Friday, and then again from 9 a.m. to noon on Saturday. Now on Sunday and Monday, the heaviest traffic will be heading westbound on I-90 Sunday from 2 to 5 p.m., and it'll be even worse on Monday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. A better alternative might be Highway 2 over Stevens Pass, where moderate to heavy traffic is expected in those directions and days. Well, Labor Day weekend, of course, marks the traditional time for rodeo fans. They flock to the Central Washington Ellensburg Rodeo. Our very own Eric Granstrom made the trek down to Cowtown to get a preview of one of the biggest rodeos in the state.
For those who haven't been to the Ellensburg Rodeo before, and shame on you if you haven't, talk about how fun this event is here for Ellensburg.
Well, the Ellensburg Rodeo is the best event to attend over Labor Day weekend. It is 4 days of rodeo action. We are the host of the Extreme Bulls Tour finale, and it's all family friendly.
And there's not a bad seat in the house, but you better get your tickets if you want to go, right?
Yes, there are no bad seats, but definitely get your tickets soon because tickets are selling fast, and you can get those at 800-637-2444 or ellensburgrodeo.com. We have 17 volunteer directors and 21 volunteer top hands that are down at the grounds right now prepping every inch, and I have a full office right now. We are selling tickets and prepping everything for the behind the scenes.
Well, and I'll tell you, as a person who used to be the manager of the fairgrounds in Waterville, there is a lot of work, even just with the dirt, right?
That's right. They are working the dirt daily, sometimes twice a day, watering it, working it, making sure it is just perfect for our world champion cowboys and cowgirls.
Now, the one thing that we should mention, I know there's beer and there's alcohol and all that kind of fun stuff, but this is a family event too, right?
That's right. It is very family friendly. So all tickets include same-day fair admission, and there are fun things to do around the grounds. We have a fan zone where you can get autographs from cowboys and cowgirls. You can spin a wheel and win prizes. You can even try your hand at a rodeo event with a stick horse. Lots to do for the kids.
And a fun time to be in Ellensburg, too, because there's a lot going on here. We have spent the day talking with the folks at Fitterers about Business Spotlight. That'll be coming up soon here on the NCW Live channel. Come on down to Ellensburg and spend some time. And thank you, Megan, for taking the time with us.
Thank you.
Good stuff from Eric. Yeah, it is almost Labor Day weekend. Ellensburg Rodeo is one of the many events going on all over North Central Washington. We have an expert in that department. Her name is Megan McPherson, and here's what's happening this weekend.
Here's a look at what's on tap this weekend around the Wenatchee Valley. Catch the last showing of Hello Dolly this Friday at the Leavenworth Fish Hatchery. Join Leavenworth Summer Theater for this marvelous story that celebrates what it means to be alive. Hello Dolly features well-known and loved melodies, thrilling dance numbers, and comedy. This is musical theater at its absolute finest and will be a fantastic night out under the stars. Get your tickets at leavenworthsummertheater.org. The Wenatchee Valley Farmers Market is every Saturday until October 26 from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. in the west parking lot of Pybus Public Market. Local farmers, artisans, winemakers, bakers, and chefs make up the friendly, hardworking vendors of the market. Eat healthy, eat local, and support your local growers and producers. Beat the heat with a family-friendly art class at the Wenatchee Valley Museum and Cultural Center this Saturday from 10:30 to 11:30 a.m. Parents and children are invited to join in for interactive fun projects. The cost is $10 for one parent and one child. Additional children are $3 each. Space is limited and pre-registration is required. And finally, catch the last two showings of The Sound of Music this Saturday and Sunday at the Ski Hill Amphitheater in Leavenworth. The story of the Von Trapp family has found a place in the hearts of everyone who sees it. Join Leavenworth Summer Theater for a truly enchanting evening under the stars as Maria sings the title song on the pine-covered hillside. Tickets can be found at leavenworthsummertheater.org. For more information on this weekend's events and others, visit the community calendar at ncwlife.com.
Yeah, no lack of things to do. Oh, by the way, good morning, Charity. She just checked in on our Facebook page. Wherever you go this weekend and Monday, Labor Day, don't forget to take us along. We're portable. Yeah, we stream all the time, 24/7. Go to ncwlife.com, click on the live stream, and whatever we're broadcasting over the airwaves, you can watch on your tablet, your computer, your smartphone, your dumb phone, whatever the case may be. You can't use your rotary dial phone, though. I tried that the other day. Can't get any television on that. So take us along this weekend and go to our website. We continually populate it with the latest news, ncwlife.com. It's also a tool you can use to get a hold of us. There's a contact us icon in the upper right hand corner of your screen. Just click on it and send us a note. Don't forget the news tonight with Grant Olson. I'll be filling in for Eric doing sports. So if you want to see a train wreck on television, we invite you to tune in at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 10 o'clock for the NCW Life Evening News. 5, 6, and 10. Grant Olson in the anchor chair, and he'll have your latest news. It is 18 minutes after the hour, overcast, light rain, 72 degrees. Going to be a beautiful day later on today. Just got to pack a little patience. Sports is 1 minute away. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley Friday edition on the NCW Life channel.
Hey everyone, did you know that the NCW Life channel is North Central Washington's go-to source for news? No matter how you prefer to view your news, NCW Life has you covered. Watch the evening news weeknights on TV, stream it, read it at ncwlife.com, or catch the latest news by following us on Facebook. Stay informed with local news, sports, weather, and shows featuring local people and events. NCW Life, a reflection and a spotlight of the communities we call home.
Hi, Justin here, owner of Club Crow Bar and Grill in Cashmere. Club Crow is your place for famous blues, brews, and barbecue. We are your one-stop bar and grill, serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner 7 days a week. Looking for a fun night out? Join us at Club Crow Saturday nights. We have live bands to rock the night away. Club Crow is bringing comedy to Cashmere. Check out our Facebook page for upcoming dates. Live jam session first Sunday of every month. Club Crow Bar and Grill in Cashmere, the coolest place in town.
We're back. It is Friday, 30th day of August. I am Dan Kuntz. This is Wake Up Wenatchee Valley, the ever-widening world of sports. And we begin with the Seattle Seahawks. They wrapped up the preseason last night. Another game that doesn't count. Took on the Raiders on a wet night at CenturyLink Field. And they got the victory. Our very own sports director, Eric Grandstrom, was there, and he filed this report.
Well, the Seahawks on Thursday night wrapped up the preseason with a victory, 17-15 over the Oakland Raiders. Raiders had a chance to tie it, maybe even send it into overtime, but the two-point conversion not good, and I think we're all thankful for that. It was a long night for the Seahawks as they were actually outgained in nearly every single category by the Raiders on the night, as Oakland had 328 total yards. They had 114 on the ground, 214 through the air, but the scoreboard is where it counts, even though this game doesn't really count. Now, where it counts is with those that are trying to make this squad. By Sunday, they take the 90 and pare it down to 53. Of course, the general manager as well as the coach, Pete Carroll, says this is a chance not only for these players to make this squad, but possibly another squad in the NFL. For the night, C.J. Prosise with 5 carries for 42 yards. Also Travis Homer, not a name you really recognize, but he had 6 carries for 42 yards. Geno Smith looked good until he went down with an apparent knee injury, so we're going to have to keep a close eye on that one, but he was 4 of 7 for 107 yards and a couple of touchdowns on the night, one of which to Terry Wright on a 39-yard pass play. Also Jacob Hollister, one of the backup tight ends, with a catch for 11 yards and a touchdown. Ben Burkervin also defensively all over the field tonight as he makes 12 total tackles, 1 sack, and the defense gets 3 sacks on the evening. As the Seahawks finish the preseason 3-1, but again, don't really count. It really counts when they start the season in a little more than a week from now against Cincinnati. Here at CenturyLink Field, I'm Eric Grandstrom on the NCW Life Channel.
Thanks, Eric. Sounds like you had a good time. As Eric mentioned, now Pete Carroll and the staff, they all get together and figure out, well, who gets cut. They've done things different now. This is a new rule in the NFL. They used to have the cuts used to come in tiers and stages throughout the course of training camp. Now they don't do that anymore. They just have one big cut going from 90 players down to 53, as he mentioned before. Opening day for the Seahawks, 9 days away when they'll host the Cincinnati Bengals at CenturyLink Field. The college football season is underway, and it gets underway for the local teams, the Huskies and the Cougars, tomorrow. Huskies, they have their new quarterback, Jacob Eason. They'll be hosting the Eastern Washington Screaming Eagles Husky Stadium, noon kickoff. You can watch it on the Pac-12 Network. At 7 o'clock Saturday night at Martin Stadium, Washington State fans get a look at the Minshew-less Cougars. They host New Mexico State. Anthony Gordon wins the starting quarterback job in Mike Leach's air raid offense, and they'll lead Wazoo on Saturday night. Not too early to talk about hockey. The Wenatchee Wild wrap up their exhibition schedule tonight, taking on the Surrey Eagles. Wenatchee is coming off last weekend with the Wild finished 1-2. The next time Wenatchee takes the ice will be the regular season opener. That's a week from today at Merritt. Tonight's puck drops at 7 o'clock. Let's talk baseball. Felix Hernandez showed some progress in his second start off the injured list. Mariners beat the Texas Rangers last night, the final 5-3. Austin Nola's RBI sacrifice fly in the top of the ninth broke a 3-3 tie. Omar Narvaez's RBI base hit added some insurance. Seattle snaps a 3-game losing streak. Hernandez went 5 innings. He allowed 3 runs, 5 hits, 3 strikeouts. He also issued just 1 walk. This is his second quality start after missing over 4 months with shoulder problems. The M's and the Rangers meet again tonight at Globe Life Park in Arlington. 5:05 first pitch. Marco Gonzalez will take on Kobe Allard. To the Les Schwab American League West scoreboard, Thursday is a quiet day in Major League Baseball. Jurickson Profar went 3 for 4, including a 2-run home run to lead Oakland over Kansas City 9-8, and Travis DeArnold was 3 for 5 with 4 ribbies, including a 2-run home run. Tampa Bay got past Houston 9-8. And those are just some of the games that people are playing on this Friday morning. As we wrap up sports at 24 minutes after the hour, the obscure holiday of the day today is a campfire staple, if there ever was one: toasted marshmallows. If you're not hungry for a toasted marshmallow by the time we get through this segment, I hope you are. So it's pretty simple. The ingredients is friends, firewood, a fire, a stick, and a bag of marshmallows. Now, I frankly would just eat the marshmallows right out of the bag. Who cares, right? Toasted marshmallows, that's the way to do it. A lot of people, of course, go ahead and throw on the graham crackers and the chocolate, and you got yourself a s'more, but I like them. I like just the toasted marshmallow. And, of course, there's a certain art to toasting the marshmallows. It takes a certain way to do it to make it perfectly crispy tan on the outside and a little gooey on the inside. But I know people who just stick it in the fire, in there, and as soon as it catches on fire, they pull it out, they blow the fire out, and they eat it that way. These people, as you might imagine, are not very bright, but I love them anyway. So have a nice, warm, gooey marshmallow day today. I wonder how many bags of marshmallows and hot dogs local stores are going to sell over the weekend, as a lot of people go camping on Labor Day weekend. I'm going to guess 4. There you go. Today is National Toasted Marshmallow Day because I found it on the internet. It's now for today in history. It is the 30th day of August. This is the 56th anniversary of the beginning of the hotline. Of course, there was a lot of Cold War was at its peak in 1963. They had the Cuban Missile Crisis, and they finally decided between Moscow and Washington, we should be able to pick up a phone and talk to each other directly, bypass all that other stuff. It wasn't really a phone. As you see there, that's what it is. It was a teletype machine, and they would actually just send messages directly through teletype from each other. So there was no actual red telephone. That's a myth. That's a fallacy. The first message transmitted over the hotline on this date, August 30th, 1963, it was from Washington, D.C. to Moscow, and the message was, the quick brown fox jumped over the lazy dog's back, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0. That's the typical message to make sure all the keys work. The return message from Moscow was, and I'm quoting now, we will take your quick brown fox and your lazy dog and bury you, you imperialistic dogs. I make that up. The hotline opened 56 years ago today. August 30th, 1967, 52 years ago today, we have film of Thurgood Marshall. He was confirmed by the United States Senate as the first African-American justice in this country's history. There he is getting his robes, his wife Sissy and his children alongside of him. He was the first African-American justice, and now, of course, there's only been 2. When Thurgood Marshall left the court in 1991, he was replaced by Clarence Thomas. And so in all of these years, in all these 52 years since 1967, we've had exactly 2 African Americans on the Supreme Court. The final vote for confirmation, by the way, for Thurgood Marshall was 69 to 11. 20 senators didn't even vote. And finally, 35 years ago, the Space Shuttle Discovery took off on its maiden voyage. This was the workhorse of the shuttle fleet. It served 27 years of service. It took off and landed 39 times, by far more than any other spacecraft in history, not just space shuttles. And the Space Shuttle Discovery was the first operational shuttle to be retired. And it took its maiden voyage on this date 35 years ago today. And finally, at 28 minutes after the hour, we got some celebrity birthdays. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them for you, including Fred McMurray, the famous actor. We remember My Three Sons. Double Indemnity is a great movie if you've never seen it. He played the really bad guy in The Apartment. And then, of course, all those Disney movies, The Shaggy Dog, all that stuff. He was fantastic in The Caine Mutiny, one of the great motion pictures. And then forever and ever, he was in My Three Sons. Fred McMurray, who made millions of dollars investing in Southern California real estate before he passed away at the age of 83. Fred McMurray was born in the state in 1908. Ted Williams was born 101 years ago today. The American League baseball player died in 2002 at the age of 83. A 19-time All-Star, 2-time recipient of the American League Most Valuable Player Award, a 6-time American League batting championship, won the Triple Crown twice. Only he and Rogers Hornsby were the only 2 people to ever accomplish that feat. Was he the greatest hitter of all time? I think he certainly has a claim to that. Ted Williams was born in the state 101 years ago. Warren Buffett, his life is pretty good. The CEO of Berkshire Hathaway. Warren Buffett is 89 years old today. His net worth, $84 billion. That makes him the 3rd wealthiest person in the world. Warren Buffett. I got to call him up and get some investment advice. I sunk all of my stock into Blockbuster. It's not working out real well. Warren Buffett, 89 years old today. Cameron Diaz dabbles in acting. Oh, that's Sean Alexander. Hi, Sean. Let's do Sean Alexander. What the heck? The former Seahawk running back, the NFL's MVP of 2005, and in my opinion, one of the best running backs ever in Seahawk history. He's got to be in the all-time starting backfield, Sean Alexander. And a class act, too. He's 42 years old. Do we have Cameron Diaz's photo? He's working on it. Cameron Diaz celebrates a birthday today. She's not related to Sean Alexander, Warren Buffett, Ted Williams, or Fred McMurray, by the way. We could just skip Cameron Diaz's birthday. There's the restraining order anyway. I probably shouldn't be talking about her. Happy birthday, Cameron Diaz. I don't know what happened to your photo. You're 47 years old today. I'm sure you know that by now. All right, it's the bottom of the hour. We're going to take a break. When we come back, everybody's entitled to Mike Magnotti's opinion. And then my conversation with Senator Brad Hawkins was videotaped right here in this very studio yesterday. His listening tour happens all next week. My conversation with Brad. When we come back, you're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley Friday edition on the NCW Life channel.
Choose the pros. Alignment Pros. When your vehicle needs brakes, shocks, struts, or alignment, choose the experts in their field. Alignment Pros and Express Lube with a 5-star rating. The work they perform on your vehicle is as impeccable as their shop. With state-of-the-art equipment, Alignment Pros can handle all large or small vehicles, specialty cars, lifted or lowered. Alignment Pros does them all. Keep your car in top shape at Alignment Pros and Express Lube in East Wenatchee.
Hi, this is Brian Snyder with Black Rock Asphalt Services here in Wenatchee, your local Black Rock seal coat company. Have you looked at your driveway or parking lot lately? Is it gray and oxidized? Does it have cracks that have not been taken care of? Or do you have striping that is pretty much non-existent? Please give us a call locally here, 509-665-9769. Learn more at blackrockasphaltsealcoating.com.
That's pretty much it. It's a great house, great neighborhood. It's great.
Sam's still getting used to the idea of moving.
Sam, you play basketball?
Yeah.
Let me show you something. Now I'm thinking you put your hoop right here, and you even got enough room for a three-point line. One of the things I've noticed is that if you got a hoop in your driveway, you make friends real fast.
At Coldwell Banker Levine, our agents don't just understand real estate, they understand what home is all about.
Some jobs take more than skill. They require something deeper, an innate devotion to the communities in which we live. At Gisa Credit Union, we help you support law enforcement, firefighters, teachers, and veterans. With every purchase you make with a Gisa Local Heroes Affinity debit card, we make a donation to select organizations. After all, we can never repay them, but we can do our best to help a little with the Gisa Local Heroes Affinity debit card.
You don't have to be a member to enjoy the view and dine-in style at Highlander Bar and Grill in East Wenatchee. Open 7 days a week, Highlander Grill offers breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Dine in or take it to go, our friendly staff is here to serve you. Reservations recommended for Friday night's prime rib dinner. Call for live music dates. Hi, I'm Shalane, site coordinator for Highlander Grill. Give me a call to schedule your event today.
When Mike leaves town, it's a little scary. You never know who might be outside. But we feel safer inside knowing our home is being monitored by a local company. I can check our alarm from just about anywhere. So when we get home, I know it's safe.
Protect your family and save money with a local company. Switch your current security monitoring to Guardian Services from LocalTel. Call Guardian Security from LocalTel now or visit localtel.net to learn more.
Hey, this is Mike Mad Dog Magnotti, and everybody is entitled to my opinion. Now, there's no comprehensive solution to school shootings. There's no one thing that if we do that one thing, it will guarantee to stop or even significantly deter someone intent on murdering school children. Deterring school shooting is going to take a wider ranging approach, much of it dependent not on government intervention, but on community involvement. This horrific situation, the murder of our children, is going to take each one of us being willing to stop our knee-jerk emotional reactions, ending the blame game, and most importantly, stop waiting for the government to act and instead ask ourselves, what can we in this community do to help provide an answer? This is Mike Mad Dog Magnotti, and that's my opinion.
There's no substitute for the power of cable TV advertising. With Solion Cable TV advertising, you can reach your target audience right here in North Central Washington. We understand their viewing habits and can precisely target your customers on great cable networks like these. Call Solion Broadcasting today and let us show you how to put your business message right in front of thousands of prospects at a very affordable price. Solion Broadcasting, 509-888-2020.
Hey everyone, Fletcher and Amy Ellington here from Live It Up. In the investment world, ROI stands for Return on Investment. Well, how does better health, better wealth, and better relationships sound for ROI? Join us every week right here on NCW Life and learn how to invest in the most important asset, you.
We're going to answer your questions and provide some weekly inspiration so you can create a life that you love. Join us on Live It Up.
Welcome back to Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. I am Dan Kuntz. My guest to my immediate left, you know. If you don't know, you've been living underneath a rock for the last couple of years. You might want to get out from underneath that rock and participate in the process, be a good citizen, be an informed member of the 12th District. And my guest is the Senator from the 12th District, who's been no stranger to this TV station, Brad Hawkins, joining me on this beautiful morning. Thanks for joining me.
Good morning, Dan. Thanks for having me.
I appreciate it. We got a lot to touch on, but before we do that, it's been a good summer for you. Lots of family time, lots of downtime, I suppose, after a long slog of a legislative session.
Yeah, it was a long legislative session. Usually things pick up, a bit in the fall, and the listening tour is one of those things. But the summertime is a little bit of a downtime, and it's good for our family to recharge our batteries. And we had some good family trips, went to Mount Rushmore, and kids went to YMCA camp together for the first time. So, yeah, we had a lot of fun.
And I know when you're in session, your family tries to come over to Olympia as often as possible, but the bottom line is you're working, especially towards the end of a legislative session when you're working on budgets and trying to get bills passed and deadlines, you're working 16, 18-hour days. Is not uncommon.
Yeah, really long days. In fact, towards the very end of the session, we were up until like 4 a.m. on some nights too. And I wake up really early, and so I tend to like to go to bed early.
Sure.
So it's a struggle for me to stay up.
How do you make cognitive decisions at 4 in the morning? I mean, your brain is so soft, and you're making critical policy decisions and getting bills passed. And when you're sleep deprived, it's probably hard to even concentrate on the task at hand.
A lot of caffeine. that does help. That does help.
So if I wanted to open up a business that would thrive, I want to open up an espresso stand somewhere near the Capitol. Is that
yeah, yeah, that would be good. In fact,
good business move?
I heard about some caffeinated gum and some other things recently, so I have some other tools in my toolbox for next session too.
We got a lot to touch on, but first things first, obviously, not long ago, Governor Jay Inslee announced that, first of all, he dropped out of the race for a Democratic nomination for the presidency, and then the very next day he announced he's running for a third term, which has happened. Dan Evans pulled off that trifecta back in 1972. Others have tried and failed. Your reaction to Governor Inslee's announcement that he's going to see if he can be reelected for a third term as the governor? What's your take on that?
Well, that actually surprised me. It didn't surprise me that he pulled out of the presidential race, and I know a lot of my Republican colleagues kind of dumped on the governor for running for president, but I think he, from a Democratic Party perspective, was quite well qualified, and he gave it a run and didn't sort of gain the traction that he wanted to, and then I thought, well, maybe he would sort of continue to transition to the federal politics and that stage, and I fully expected perhaps some sort of an announcement that he would not be seeking a third term. But then he announced that he is, which is, within his right. Washington State does not have term limits. Many of his predecessors had only served for 2 terms and when they were reelected, but governors can serve for 3, 4, 5, and longer. So I guess what I'd be interested with Governor Inslee is if he chooses to run for a third term, which he says he is, but whether he chooses to, and if he is reelected to a third term, will he commit to fulfilling that term? Mm-hmm. And so, depending on the federal presidential election in 2020, there's some speculation that maybe he'd look to transition to something at the federal level. So I think there's always good opportunities to have other people step in and lead. I know Hillary Franz was the commissioner of public lands was interested in that. Bob Ferguson.
There's a
the state
huge
attorney
domino
general.
effect by having the governor make that announcement, because a lot of prospective candidates, at least on the Democratic side, are now saying, okay, well, now I'm out.
Yeah, in fact, some of my Democratic Senate colleagues were looking to run for other positions, either Attorney General or Public Lands Commissioner. One of my Senate Republican colleagues, Phil Fortunato, has announced that he's running for governor. So it's a bit of a change. Of course, the filing period is not until May, so we'll see how some things play out. But I don't fault Governor Inslee for running for president. I think if you're a governor of the state of Washington, or anybody in the state of Washington, you have that opportunity and you feel like you can make a difference, I wish that person the best, but obviously it didn't work out for him. But we'll see him over in Olympia, no doubt, this next legislative session.
Do you think this will maybe get a little momentum going for term limits at the state level? From a federal level, a congressional standpoint, there are no term limits. The Supreme Court has ruled if you want term limits, you have to have a constitutional amendment to do it. So our congressional delegation in Washington, D.C., term limits does not apply. But Washington is one of only, 12 states that has no term limits at all on any of their offices, be it executive or legislative. Is that maybe people are going to start thinking maybe we should think about term limits for everybody, not just governor, but legislative as well?
Well, that's always been an interesting discussion. It does come up from time to time. I think there's always some constitutional sort of questions around that. But many states have term limits for their governor, and maybe that's something that we could consider in our state. Again, it's actually uncommon for a governor to serve more than 2 terms. Maybe Governor Inslee, I can't speak for him, but maybe he wants to, be a historical figure in our state by running for a 3rd term. But I don't believe that his reelection to a 3rd term is a guarantee.
No.
I'm not really a political prognosticator. There's even some consideration of one of those Democratic members challenging him in a primary, although I think that's probably unlikely. But you never know.
You never know. You never know. In the 2018 election cycle, of course, your party, the Republican Party, 3 Senate seats went from Republican to Democrat. 7 seats in the House of Representatives went from Republican to Democrat. So it's a solid Democratic majority in the executive branch and in the legislative branch. The most recent session, did you feel like your party and your policies and the way you were thinking were just being run roughshod over by the Democrats, or was there some give and take? But you were pretty much it was a sizable minority, and the Democrats pretty much did what they wanted to do.
Yeah, pretty much. It was actually very difficult to be a part of, especially when it came to some of the taxes that were being proposed and some of the other social policies and other policy priorities of the Democrats. When I first got elected to the Senate, I got elected in 2016, I took office in 2017, I was part of the majority. And the Republican Senate was in our Republican majority, and the House was Democratic majority, and we were able to sort of provide a counterbalance or a counter perspective and a forced bipartisanship and compromise. And then the next year, we were basically in a tie, but it was a 1-vote minority for the Senate Republicans. But we still had that control. And then with the political pendulum swinging so far in these 2018 elections, boy, we went, I think, there's 49 members of the state Senate, and there's now 28 Democrats and 21 Republicans. So we're in a significant minority position. And so, I pride myself in working collaboratively, working closely with colleagues on both sides of the aisle. And it's really important in that position that we're able to create influence, given the fact that we don't really have as much political pull being in the minority. So on many issues, I was successful in passing a piece of legislation related to renewable hydrogen. That was very helpful to some of our PUDs in this area. But you gotta find ways to kind of thread the needle and find that common ground, because when it comes to the votes, they certainly have them. Now, I think the political pendulum will probably swing back over a little bit and things will tighten up. But for this coming legislative session in 2019, it's pretty much a continuation of the policies that were proposed before, which were significant tax increases, additional spending by the state. Some of the things I couldn't support, which is one of the reasons I voted against the budget.
When it comes to drafting legislation from a minority perspective? Do you say, okay, I want to draft this legislation that might be somewhat partisanship, and I got to figure out how to get 8 votes so I can get this thing passed? Or do you ask for the moon and then you get what you can get during the negotiation process? Because you're writing legislation knowing that you don't have the votes to get it out of the box. How do you do, from that standpoint, how does that work?
Well, sometimes the ask for the moon approach is sometimes what people attempt when they're making budget requests, but I've actually never done that. I've always kind of tried to, make a request I think is realistic and advocate hard for that. And usually what I do, whether it's legislation or budget requests, is I don't come in with this vast legislative, priority or platform every given session. I come in with a handful of issues and budget requests that I think make sense to both parties, and I push really hard. I go all in for those things, whether it was that bill on renewable hydrogen, whether it's been things for wildfire funding and strategic planning, whether it's budget requests for the sewer extension, which we were able to secure. And one of the tactics and strategies that I like to employ is building a strong coalition of supporters behind you, so that you have a lot of people speaking to the same issue. And when it came to that sewer district extension, we had the Douglas County commissioners, the Douglas County Port commissioners, even the Chelan County Port commissioners, and other local officials, and the sewer district and water district and others, all joining forces. Representative Steele, Representative Gaynor, myself. I mean, it got to be kind of a powerful coalition that we built up, and we were successful that way. So there's different ways to kind of go about it, but definitely sometimes you have to kind of be realistic and do an assessment of at the beginning of the session whether you see a viable path to getting a bill to the governor, because I've actually never been one of those legislators that just wants to sponsor a piece of legislation to sponsor it, to issue a press release, to have some sort of press conference with the Capitol Dome in the background. I want to do things that are beneficial for our district and do things that I believe have a realistic chance of making their way all the way through the state Senate, which is all the way through our committee process. But then in order for a bill to become law, it has to go all the way through the House of Representatives too, in the same form, and be signed into law by the governor. And sometimes people take that for granted, that the governor's just going to sign every bill into law that passes the legislature, and that's not the case too. The governor has that power of the pen for his governor's veto. So, there's a lot that goes into it, and most of the legislation that's introduced in Olympia doesn't become law. Every year there's thousands
most of it doesn't make it out of committee for the most part.
Yeah, there's a really small percentage. But fortunately for me, because of my approach and my relationships, and I try not to burn a lot of bridges too, my batting average is significantly higher with my prime sponsored bills. So
as you work your way into seniority on the Republican side, and of course it's a very much a seniority based organization, are there some committees you really have your eye on, say, if I get a couple more terms, I can sit on this committee and really make some policy differences? So you have your eye on any of those? Or?
Yeah. Well, right now, education policy is really a big interest, and has been since the 2012 State Supreme Court McCleary decision. I currently serve as the ranking Republican member on the Senate Education Committee. So, that keeps me pretty busy. I actually have 10 years of school board experience, both with the North Central ESD here and the Eastmont School Board that I bring with me to the legislature. And since the state spends about half of its funding on K-12 education, which is about 51% of state spending, we're putting billions and billions of dollars towards education. So I think the Education Policy Committee is a good one for me. But really, I have an interest in a lot of different committees. And then also, since 2017, when I first got elected to the Senate, I've been part of our elected leadership team. And I am the assistant floor leader. It's kind of a junior leadership position. But there's really only a handful of Senate Republicans that are elected to leadership, and I'm one of those. And so in addition to my committee assignments, I regularly attend our leadership meetings with the Republican Senate leadership team. And so that keeps me busy too. We have leadership meetings about twice a week in Olympia during session.
As we mentioned at the start of this conversation with Senator Brad Hawkins, you spent a lot of time this summer in his car with his family. Now he's going to spend a lot of time over the next couple of weeks in his car driving all over the 12th District, it's another listening tour. Starts out in Kashmir on the day after Labor Day, and it wraps up in Chelan on September 7th. So basically every day, it's hop in the car and down the road we go. Give folks an idea of what do you want to hear from your constituents on a listening tour? I know it's a listening tour, but you would like it. I'm assuming just from a simple logistics and time saving that they're prepared to ask some tough questions and you're prepared to listen. What do you want to hear from your constituents?
Yeah, well, I really look forward to hearing from them, and making myself accessible as an elected official is something I take a lot of pride in. Being a good listener is something I take a lot of pride in, and it's something I'm always actively working to improve. You know, I know oftentimes I do media interviews or people hear me on the radio, and they want to assess how well I know the issues by how much I do the talking. But really, in order to be a good policymaker, you have to be a good listener. And so I had this idea of the listening tour a few years ago, and apparently it hadn't been really implemented before in our district. But our district is so large geographically that I thought I can't just spend most of my time in Wenatchee and East Wenatchee, the greater Wenatchee Valley, even though that's the population base, and think that I have a good understanding of where the district is on issues. And so I wanted to spread things out. I wanted to travel all throughout the district. And so 3 years ago, we had this idea of our first annual listening tour. And we traveled to all 4 counties and many different communities. And really it's a chance for me to go to people where they are and hear from them on issues. And it ranges from agricultural issues to transportation, wildfire, budget, taxes, you know, just a lot of different things. And one of the things I like to do is bring staff with me from Olympia along the tour stops. So we have issue specialists and other resources there, more ears to do the listening, which is good, but also note taking. And if constituents have concerns or questions, and we work hard to research them. Sometimes we have the answers there. Sometimes we have to get on that and follow up with them. But I think the constituents have found that we're pretty prompt with getting back to them, and we provide a lot of good detail. But it's really just a chance to, you know, hear from people on the issues where they are. You know, so often some of the legislators are, well, we're over in Olympia, come over to Olympia and visit me. Well, that session is in the middle of winter. People have to drive over 2 mountain passes in a snowstorm to come have 15 minutes with me, and I'd rather, you know, try a different approach. And it's worked really well. We got a really good response the first year, and it sort of increased. We've actually added a day for this year just to accommodate the number of requests and things. So yeah, but it's a big district. You know, people don't realize the 12th district is all of Chelan County and all of Douglas and part of Grant County and about half of Okanagan County to the Canadian border. So there's a lot of ground to cover. So on this listening tour this year, we're covering a lot of the same stops as prior years, but we're also making some additional stops. But Kashmir, Leavenworth, Wenatchee, Mansfield, Twisp, Mazama.
Yeah, all the way to Mazama.
Yeah, and you know we're definitely making the rounds, and it's going to Pateros, I think, is one of the stops. So, you know, it's really good for me as a legislator to get a diversity of opinions, and some of the thoughts and political philosophies in the political landscape, for example, in Leavenworth and the Methow Valley, is different than the Wenatchee Valley or Douglas County. Some of the issues are similar. You know, wildfire tends to be an issue that a lot of people have a common interest in. Tourism, whether you're in Methow or Lake Chelan.
Agriculture.
Yeah, agriculture.
Yeah.
And Lake Chelan's another one of our stops, but you know, Leavenworth. So there's a lot of common issues and then things that are unique to certain areas too. And so I'm trying to get a flavor for all that. You know?
We're almost out of time, Senator Brad Hawkins. You can email Brad, by the way. It's brad.hawkins@leg.wa. We'll send it. We'll put it up graphically for you so you figure it out. If you want to, that's to email you or your staff. If you just want to just a little quick one-on-one sit down for 5 or 10 minutes, it can be arranged.
Yeah. And I wanted to encourage your viewers too at NCW Life, if they do have thoughts, questions, or concerns about state government, you know, the listening tour is a convenient way to do that, but people can contact me anytime, either by email or by calling my office, sending us a letter. We pride ourselves in our constituent customer service, and so I'm really available all year, but this listening tour is just a unique opportunity to connect with people in a special way. We've added a hike at the end of every listening tour, so people can do a little bit of political walk and talk. So we're going to be at the hiking the Chelan Butte on September 7th at 9 a.m. So encourage everybody to come out for that.
You can go on social media and complain, or you can get involved and be an impetus for change. It's something that we were taught when I was growing up. You can complain or you can do something about it. Last question, Brian, before I cut you loose. I know it's a short session coming up in theory. It's an off-budget year, although you can do supplementary budget tweaks here and there. Are you expecting a pretty quiet session come January of 2020, or is it going to be, what do you think? In and out, we're done with business?
It's hard to predict. You know, we had a long battle again last legislative session on the 2-year state budget. That budget was approved. There were significant tax increases that were part of that budget, which I voted against. But there is a small window, some people think it's a small window before this political pendulum swings back over and the political dynamics tighten up. Maybe the Democratic majorities are going to continue to use this next legislative session, albeit a short session, to continue to push their policy priorities and maybe some more taxes. I've heard potentially, which is very troubling, that some of the Democratic members have not given up on their interest in pushing a capital gains tax through. And one of my Senate colleagues that was a Democratic member that was a bit of a holdup for them has left the state Senate, has taken a job at Amazon, and now people believe that because that new appointee favors a capital gains tax, that maybe that creates an opportunity to eliminate that roadblock in the state Senate. So on one hand, I think, it could be, short and sweet, we get out of there in 60 days. And on the other hand, it could be more heavy lifting by the Democratic members. And unfortunately, some of the policies are way different than I think a lot of the Democratic community members would support here. I mean, it's sort of almost being taken over by some of the legislators from the Seattle area, which is concerning for people in Eastern Washington.
Senator Brad Hawkins, it's good to see. Again, his listening tour starts on Tuesday the 3rd in Cashmere, and it's going to be all over North Central Washington. The complete schedule is going to be posted on our website. It wraps up with the hike that he talked about. They're going to hike the Chelan Butte Trailhead at 9 o'clock on Saturday, September 7th. Senator, it's good to see you.
Yeah, Dan.
Always good to be with you. And by the way, his son is sitting there off camera. Wave. There you go. Wave to the folks who can't see you. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. We'll be right back.
Dear Mary Maids, just got home from a trade show and I didn't have time to pick up the house. Kids made chili. Jeff did a mud run. Oh, and Winston shredded Teddy's bed. Again, please clean it the best you can. Oh, except for the statue Max made for me. Thanks, Abby.
Hi, Abby. Clean kitchen, clean bath, clean floor, naughty cat. Poor Teddy. The statue is precious. You should keep it forever. See you next time, Mary Maids.
It's estimated that 1/3 of Americans do not have a financial plan. At D.A. Davidson, their advisors are working to change that because they understand the importance of planning for the future. At D.A. Davidson, they believe in partnering together to build a strategy tailored to your needs. They spend the time and have the knowledge to help keep your financial future on track. Let D.A. Davidson Financial Advisors of Wenatchee put the strength of advice to work for you.
And we are back here at Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. Just about a minute left in this program. We're going to take you to a live shot of US 97A just south of the Knapp's Hill Tunnel. They had a rock slide, rocks on the roadway earlier today. It looks like that has been cleaned out. It has been cleaned out, as a matter of fact. Traffic is moving in both directions because we can tell traffic is moving in both directions. So if you had plans on taking 97A and you were delayed for whatever reason, you can go now. It's no problem. They have the DOT and their crews got out there and got all the rocks out of the way. So the rock slide that was blocking traffic on milepost 225 just south of the Knapp's Hill Tunnel on US 97A, you are now good to go. Speaking of good to go, we got a weather forecast I think you're going to like from the National Weather Service just in time for the Labor Day weekend. Clouds are already thinning out. We're 72 degrees, still getting some light residual rain, but we're going to have a beautiful 3-day weekend, mostly sunny by the time we get to this afternoon. We'll top off at about 88 degrees, 63 for the overnight low tonight. Saturday, sunshine, lots of it. Just a couple of passing clouds and a high of 88, 85 on Sunday. 87 for Labor Day proper. Outdoor activities, and a lot of people got them, be it boating or fishing or golfing or camping or picnicking, I don't know. Whatever it is you want to do, spend it outside. The weather is going to be about perfect. That's it. That's a wrap for this week on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. Don't forget, we will not be here on Monday. And provided this show isn't canceled, we'll see you on Tuesday the 3rd. Have a great Labor Day weekend. Take care and bye-bye.